right, here you
Ready?
go. God dang, what episode is this? 53, 57? What no?
53, 57,
We
55.
working. We've been
Yeah.
recording, bro. So I don't know what number it is.
Yeah, we've been
Welcome,
going
man.
hard.
57 in the books. What is this? Figuring shit out. I'm the boy King Gotham, man. Y'all know what time it is. Unify and thrive. Frank, what's going on there, bro?
What's going on? It's episode 55. And check me out, Flacs. Check out the websites, Elusive Perspective, cyberbunny.com.
Yeah, so we
What you
got
got?
Miss Tamika Quinn in the building today, man. She can be talking to us about her stroke surviving journey, her heart journey, her she worked with the girls. I've been following Miss Quinn for a minute. We didn't talk before too.
Okay.
She always doing something in the community, right? She always been on a health journey. Like so I met her post journey had started. So how you doing, Miss Quinn?
I'm great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so I don't know if you've seen the show but not, but we can get right into it. Our first question is like, what is your figuring shit out moment? What is that moment that you figured it out and you was like, I'm about to start moving differently?
I would think it should have been when I had two strokes, right? And
Should have
the
been.
whole left side of my body was paralyzed, and it's like that kind of moment where it's like you look back at your life and it's like, how did I get in this situation and what am I supposed to be doing differently? But that wasn't really my figuring shit out moment.
Oh, wow.
Um, I really didn't change much in my life at that time. And I was overweight and I had uncontrolled high blood pressure. And I talk a lot about that because those were two risk factors for having a stroke. And I was only 27 at the time. And so
Wow.
That's
yeah,
young. That's
when
young.
when you look at that, at what my two main risk factors was, how I lived my life, and then having two strokes at 27 and being paralyzed, and then not clicking that I need to make some changes. It says a lot about my mindset at that time,
Mm-hmm.
to not make a shift. Um,
Right.
but it wasn't until later, a couple years later, actually, when my daughter, who was 8 years old at the time, developed high cholesterol, so severe, and obesity that she was sent to see a cardiologist. That was
Wow.
my figuring shit out moment. That was my wake up call. Okay, things have to change drastically because I don't want my daughter going down the same road that I went down.
Right.
Right.
It's funny though, sometimes we're like when it's our own health or something going on with us, we don't take it as serious. But when somebody close to you, chill, a lot, someone you love, that's when things go into a different perspective. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was gonna say, like from being 27 and two strokes and then having an 8-year-old with high cholesterol, like that was there a correlation that you was like,
Absolutely.
this is was it what was the correlation or how'd you find the correlation? How about that?
So we think that the correlation would be, oh, it's hereditary. It runs in your family. Yeah, what runs in our family are the practices, the the things that we do, the foods that we eat, the choices that
The
we make,
rituals.
the
Diet.
rituals, having
Mm-hmm.
the fast food instead of eating whole foods. That's what runs in the family. And so those
Mm-hmm.
choices, I was killing myself and my family.
Wow.
We made changes that were so drastic. My kids stopped eating school lunch after that. So my
Mm-hmm.
youngest daughter, she never ate school lunch ever. So you're talking about from kindergarten through 12th grade, she took her lunch to school the entire time because by the time she started school, we had already made those changes that I'm going to
Dedication.
control what my children put in their mouth.
Yeah, that's
um
tough.
it was a drastic change from we're just going to haphazardly eat whatever or decide to have a lifestyle of whatever to no, this is a controlled life that we're going to live.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's crucial.
Did you have like previous knowledge on like the food is it or was you like I'm not sure I'm sure your 8-year-old daughters wasn't drink like eating donuts every day every morning, right? Or I'm sure you weren't like abusing drugs or alcohol and like a glutton for food, right? So did you have previous knowledge of like the food was it or how'd you figure that out?
So no, I didn't have any knowledge, say like a dietitian would know how to eat or a nutritionist would know how to eat. I actually sought out the knowledge. And for me, I was that mom that I knew that my daughter was overweight, and I knew that we probably could eat better, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this is how I was brought up. And so for me, it was like, this is how everyone in my family ate, so this is just what we were going to do as well.
Right.
And then even when I saw that my daughter was getting overweight, I had 3 children. She was the only one that had this issue with weight, and so I never wanted to really isolate her. So even when I could see that her weight was becoming an issue, what am I going to say as a mom? Hey, you can't have seconds, but everybody else, y'all can have seconds.
Oh
So
yeah,
it
that'll be
was
fun.
kind of, you know what I mean?
Right.
It was kind of a touchy situation. And then she began to be teased and, bullied at school for her weight as well. So it was not just a physical thing with her health, but it was also an emotional thing with her friends at school. So we
Right.
went through a program at CHKD Children's Hospital called Healthy, where we worked with dietitians, nutritionists, as well as psychologists and cardiologists. And they took a family approach. So it wasn't just this one child that has a medical issue, it's a
Right.
family issue, and everyone is going to work as a team. But the thing of it is that if you're not the one with the issue, say you're a 10-year-old kid and it's your sibling that has the issue, it's kind of like you're a little reluctant. It's like, hey, I don't
Mhm.
I don't want to have to change my eating habits.
Why I
But
gotta have broccoli, right?
right,
I can
right.
imagine.
So until we got to that team mindset, it was a little bit challenging, but we did it. And I can say it was so worth it. And even today, just to hear my daughter, she went from not just being overweight, because it wasn't just the weight. When you think about the mindset, she
Yeah.
was almost like, to the point where she didn't want to go to places with friends. She didn't want to do sleepovers or go to parties, because
Be
she just
social,
had
yeah.
this, it was a social anxiety with it as well. And she went through school as joining, being in debutante pageants, and joining all kinds of social activities, and just being the social butterfly, after seeing her transform, from losing weight and gaining confidence. So it's amazing what it can do for you.
No, that's super
That's
dope.
amazing.
I think that, yeah, that's inspiring. I just want to take it back a little bit, because you said you had a stroke at 27 twice. Was it back to back? Was it days, weeks, months apart? Like how did that transpire? Like,
Yeah. So 10 days after I had my youngest daughter, I had the first stroke. And then while I was in ICU, 3 days later, I had the second stroke. So the first one was on the
wow.
right side of my brain. It left the left side of my body paralyzed. And 3 days later, the second one was in the frontal lobe of my brain. And it left cognitive disabilities and
Right.
memory issues. And I tell you, it wasn't a good prognosis. Doctors told me to my face, you'll never walk again.
I can
You'll have,
imagine. Yeah.
yeah,
Usually when you hear about that, it's like it's generally not really
Hmm.
good, right?
Positive. Yeah.
Did you have any other medical outside of obesity? Did you have any other medical things, or this was just like it was like all of a sudden it wasn't like knowing other impending health things prior to that? It was just like, is that how it happened?
pretty much. I had migraines prior to that, but during my pregnancy, I developed high blood pressure. It's
Okay,
called
yeah, yeah.
preeclampsia.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
so
Max wife had
that
that.
was that was my issue during the pregnancy, was the preeclampsia. And then
Yeah.
during labor, my blood pressure spiked up pretty high, and I had to stay in the hospital
Hmm.
an extra day. So that 10-day period after delivering my daughter, I was still kind of in a, a situation where I probably should have been looked at a little bit more closely, but I
Right,
wasn't.
Hmm.
right.
Hmm.
It's something funny. What kills me about like diet and stuff is like I think deep down, all of us, I think we all know what's good for us and what's not good for us. But it's just it could be upbringing, it could be the food just tastes good. We all know better mostly, but it's like we still eat junk, right? Like I'll be honest, I'm not the best eater. I have my moments where I'll diet for a few months, I'll lose
Hmm.
weight, and then I'll revert back, or I'll go vegetarian and go pescatarian, and I jump all around all the place. But it's like, what do you think, if you could, if you had a response for the psychology behind it, what do you think is the reason why most people, even though we know we're supposed to eat better, we just don't?
Well, I think that marketing is a great tool, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yeah.
if all around us is a constant marketing plan for us to not eat well, we won't, or the masses won't. And so think about what you see on a regular basis. We see fast foods being advertised. I know, for one, I don't eat meat, but I constantly see meat being advertised everywhere I go.
It's everywhere. Yeah,
It's
it's like,
everywhere.
even for somebody
Yeah.
like when you try to diet, like you say I want to cut this out, this out, this out, this out. Then you're like, shit, where the fuck can I eat?
Right.
It's like I can't eat nothing. It's just
Right.
the system, right? It's all over the place.
Yeah. And so
No,
I
that's
don't
good.
see commercials for healthy eating. I don't see advertisements or marketing for a better way of living, but I do see it for, a not so better way of living.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I just thought about it, bro. Like, I know in Norfolk, Booker T. Washington High School, them kids can look out the window, see McDonald's, a Church's Chicken, and the gas station. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I'm just not thinking about it. Like, even when I was in the Boys and Girls Club, like going out, we had food inside, but then we had the quick shop right across the street, and they had the tater wedges and the chicken wings and the cheeseburger. It was good, but like you said, all around you was meat.
Trash.
The marketing is the
Meat
beast.
and bread. That's another thing. People like bread. Like you know how they have it on the food pyramid at the bottom. Like you're supposed to have what, 5 to 7 servings of bread or whatever. Like bread supposedly is really bad. Glutton and it's not glutton. What's
gluten.
gluten? Yeah, gluten. Glutton is a sin. It's one of the 7 sins. But yeah,
Yeah.
gluten is supposedly really bad, and it also causes a lot of inflammation and mucus buildup and buildup in the bodies. But a lot of people, I mean, bread is everywhere too. Like if you try to go low carb, bread is everywhere. Everywhere you
Yeah.
go is bread and meat. Those are like the two main things. It's hard to
Yeah.
avoid.
Yeah.
So how did you transition your family, right? How did you take control of what you ate, how you was eating, and stuff like that?
So after we went through that program, the Healthy You program, I cleaned house. Like
Mm-hmm.
I went through everything that we had in at home first, and said we're just making this change. It's no compromising. It's not, you can't
Cold
do a little
turkey.
bit of this. Yeah, it was cold turkey. So even if I bought, let's say, a bag of chips, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would portion everything off in sandwich bags, mark, this is for Monday, this is for Tuesday. Like I was just that
Mm.
controlling of our portions. I threw away our big plates and we started to eat on the bigger size saucers, because everything is a mind thing, right?
Yeah.
If you if you reduce your portion size, your mind doesn't realize that the plate is smaller. You still think it's a full plate of food, even though
Mm.
the plate is smaller. So now you're getting a smaller portion size, but your mind doesn't feel like you're, missing out, because the plate is still full, but the plate is smaller. We went to something in our home called the 15-minute rule. And all these things I'm talking about are in my book called
Let's
Change
go.
Your Mind, Change Your Waistline. Um,
That's
Okay.
me, bro. I need to change my waistline. Let's go.
and so the 15-minute rule, people would come over and they'll hear my kids screaming out, it's 6:30, it's 6:45. And they'd be like, why your kids keep screaming out times? And I'm like, because they know they can't get seconds until at least 15 minutes have passed. And the 15 minutes is the time frame that it takes your mind to realize that your stomach is full. And so sometimes
What?
yeah,
Okay. That's
like
dope.
sometimes you think I want more food, but if you just wait about 15 minutes, you might not even want the food. You might be like, oh, I'm full. I'm good. I don't even want any more. I'm full now, you know?
That's
I
crazy.
never thought about
I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try that.
that.
Because I can tell you
And
right
so
now, I'm usually going for seconds way before 15 minutes.
Yeah, most
2 minutes.
people
Right.
so we just went vegan or meatless, or should I say, right? Let's say about 45 days. Everybody's here. I've had some meat, some shrimp, right, some fish. His has chicken nuggets, right? But chicken nuggets that we brought in the house. How did you just keep it up? Like, how did you keep it from going
Consistency,
stale? I
man.
know yeah, like how, like, cause I know we hear, cause before at first, like the first 2 weeks, I was at grocery store like every day, and grocery store every day because I got to buy something to cook every day. I got to find a recipe.
Yeah.
Like we just now getting a little system where we write down the recipes for the week, and we gotta start cooking a little earlier, right? So that way when lunch come around, it's like, oh, I'm hungry. You don't default to go outside and get something, right? So how'd you deal with that?
I cook a lot.
Okay.
Um, I don't really have an issue with coming up with what I'm going to cook. And we vegetables is a big thing with us. When we first made the change, we started with the meatless Mondays, and we still eat seafood now. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not a big deal for us at this point because we do eat seafood. But it's not an issue to just eat vegetables. Because we love any vegetables. So we
That's
can have
good.
Mm-hmm.
a meal with just vegetables and beans and or vegetables, chickpeas, it doesn't matter if there's no meat. But when we first started, it was a big deal for my family to not have
Right.
meat. So we started just
Mm-hmm.
on Mondays, and that was our thing, meatless Mondays,
Meatless
and just doing that
Mondays.
transition to getting them started with that one day a week. And it could be something as simple as veggie pizza. And I incorporated the
Mm,
kids really hands on because they were young. And it would be like, okay, you're going to help me in the kitchen with meatless Mondays. And they got a kick out of it, being able to help me cut up vegetables, help me do whatever we're going to do for dinner. So a lot of times when the kids are involved, they feel a sense of ownership. And so it's not just mom being meanie mom, making us not eat meat.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that we're doing as a family. And so if you're trying to make that shift, get your kids involved, get your family involved in this change as well.
I'm gonna try to. My baby girl, they eat sometimes, but let me see if they care about it, if they made it, where they eat it more. Because I'm looking at
Yeah.
food on the table right now.
my son don't care about nothing. He'll eat whatever. Did you did you also cut back on bread and carbs and stuff, or do you just focus solely on cutting out meat?
The bread is a big deal. Like I remember,
Right.
yeah, I used to do biscuits, cornbread, rolls. That was a big part of
Butter.
my
Right.
family. That was done. I don't really eat bread now at all, but
That's
we
good.
used to when I was heavy,
Yeah, it's
when I
hard.
was overweight. Yeah. But now, no, not
It's
at all.
funny. What's funny, what's crazy is like I'm kicking bread out all the time, right? I probably did it like 3, 4 times this year. So it's like as soon as you stop eating bread, right, and you get rid of it, it's like your body craves like because it's like I grew up on rice, right? We ate rice, carbs, probably the first 15 years of my life. Every day we had rice. And then we moved to Virginia. It was like the first time we ate dinner without rice. I was like, yo, where's the fucking rice? I didn't understand it. But because we moved from New York to the South, so then bread took his place kind of. So then I was eating bread, all the time or whatever. And then when you cut out bread, it's like, first off, bread fills your stomach up, right? It expands,
Mm-hmm.
so it gives you that full feeling, right? So like you could eat bread or and then it'll expand your stomach and you feel full, but you're really not full. It's just fucking bread, right? When you cut that out and then you eat like vegetables and meat, and then your stomach it just has that empty, that feeling is like it's empty. I'm like, yo, I'm still hungry. So I could probably do that 15-minute thing when I just eat meat and vegetables and kick out the bread.
Yeah.
So maybe hopefully after 15 minutes, my stomach's like, all right, you got food in you. But bread is one of my biggest struggles. Do you have any tips
We all learn
to help
something
with
here.
it? Right. Do you have tips
Yes.
for that, or it's just go cold turkey and
Yes.
just
If
fucking
you want to, if you love bread, I would suggest if you're going to eat bread, make sure it's whole grain bread. Because like you said, if you're eating like say white bread or rolls or anything that's made from white flour, it is
Mhm.
just yeast. It is gluten and
Right.
it's not good for you. It's almost like your body is a processor, it's processing, but you're putting something in it that's already processed. So your body doesn't know what to do with that.
Mm,
It doesn't, it's almost like you're putting a machine in a machine. So, or
right.
something made from a machine into a machine.
So it's nothing to
If
break
you eat
down.
whole
Right.
grain bread, your body now has to work to break down whole grains, and that's what you want it to do. It's almost like you're
Mm-hmm.
eating whole food, eating whole grain bread, which is a good thing. So now you're working off that whole grain. Your body is functioning the way that it's supposed to function to work it through your system. It's a good thing. So you can look at the whole grain bread as something that's good for you. And you'll still get the benefits of eating something that you love.
Hi, I'm King Arthur, founder of Novel Views Tech, where we prepare children aged 10 to 17 for a future shaped by advanced technology. Our curriculum dives into fields like robotics, nanotechnology, quantum computing, and more. But what really brings learning to life are our bi-monthly, Exploring the Future of Technology, webinars, hosted by industry experts. These webinars aren't just lectures, they're interactive discussions that connect your child to the pulse of the tech world, creating a learning experience that goes beyond the classroom. We offer a money-back guarantee to ensure you're completely satisfied. Equip your child with the skills to not just adapt, but to innovate and lead in the future. Join us at Novel Views Tech, and let's build their future today.
How'd you take this food thing or this health journey and turn into a passion, right? Like turn into a business, like find a way to, inspire others, motivate others, encourage others, turn it into Tamika Quinn, right?
It's something when people come up to you and tell you that, what you've been through has inspired them to live. When people go through having a stroke, I can tell you that it's something that's so serious. Oftentimes they don't know which way they're going to turn, whether or not they even want to live any longer. And so for me, this is not just something that I'm just doing as a business. I have a business. I've had a business since 2003. But this journey, this health journey, this is more than just a business for me. This is a God mandate. I don't believe that I'm sharing this information just because I'm making money to do it. This is something that God has spared my life for me to speak and share my story for a reason, to save other people.
So let's talk more about the book. Let's show the book again. I want to see the book again. I want to see the book. I didn't know you had a book. I seen the video, the stroke survivors video.
Change your waistline. That's catchy.
Let me see. Weight loss from the inside out. No, that's super dope. Are you based out of Norfolk? Are you in this area?
Yes, Chesapeake.
Oh, okay, that's where I'm at, Chesapeake. Okay, where can people get the book? Can you give us a little background about the book? Like what's inside of it? What can they learn from getting that book and reading it and participating?
Absolutely. They can get it from Amazon.com. They can get it from my website, TamikaQuinn.com. The book is about my journey that I took. Really, it wasn't even about me losing weight. It was to help my daughter lose weight. And I helped her lose 40 pounds. And in the process of helping my daughter, I lost 80 pounds. And I talk about,
that's crazy.
Yes,
Okay.
I talk about
That's
the
huge.
journey that we took and the action steps that we took, and the changes I made in my home with my family. And then in the back, there's actually a journal that you can use to document your own process and your journey as well. There's a 21-day journal in the back of the book. And so there's many people who have had success using this weight loss journal. I'm excited about it because most times you get people who want to help you do a certain thing and it's just talk. This book gives you the action steps and then gives you a platform in the back for you to help you do your process as well. And so, there's no excuse.
Right.
Yeah. So, as a matter of fact, speaking of excuses, what do you say to the people? Because there's a whole culture of people who just say, hey, you're fine the way you are, or I'm gonna be this way. Right? This is just how I am. What do you say to them? Do you let them be, or do you try to kind of nudge them along as well?
So I'm going to speak from a professional standpoint, right? First, I have, as you know, been interviewed by Essence Magazine. I have sat on stages with cardiologists, with specialists from Johns Hopkins University. I have been a part of laws being passed, the sodium warning label bill being passed into law. I am considered an expert in the industry.
Let's go.
And so when you ask that question, I want you to know that What we're talking about today is not about looks. And so when people say, make statements to that about, I'm fine the way I am, let's just say that, as I've never heard an actual number, but let's just say that each person is born with a heart, and I've just recently had heart surgery, as you know, in February. But let's just say that each person is born with a heart, and your heart is designed to give you a certain amount of beats per lifespan, right? Let's just say hypothetically, because I've never been told what the number of beats are. Everybody says, well, we're all here for a certain amount of time, certain amount of years. We don't know what that number is. But let's just say each person's heart has a certain amount of beats. When you are overweight, your heart has to beat more beats than the average person who is not overweight. So if we think about that concept, let's just use my age. I'm 48 years old. I've known for 20 years that my heart needed to have surgery, and I didn't get that surgery done until February. That means that my heart was beating abnormally for at least 20 years, right? I knew that.
That's
The
scary.
same way that people are overweight, you know that there's problems in your body that you don't want to address. We can all say, oh, I just look like this and I'm fine with how I look. We're not talking about looks. We're talking about your lifespan. So if your heart is having to beat more beats than it actually should, you're condensing your lifespan. You're
That's real.
shortening your lifespan. So I don't have conversations with people who want to talk about how they look. I have conversations with people who want to talk about their quality of life, because you can be here today like I am at 48 and have a quality of life that is wonderful. You could be here today at 48 and have a quality of life that is horrible because of
Right.
the
And you
changes
see
that
it all
you
the time.
decided not to make, because you were focused on looking good.
Right. No, that's real. That's a bar. I think that's important for people to hear. I think that's a
Whole bar,
message.
yeah.
Because I think what King was alluding to, like we talked about this before, it was this I don't even know if there's a name for it. It's just the thing where they were like
Body shaming, no body shaming, body positivity or something like that, right?
yeah, I think it's called body positivity, where, and again, we're not, like what you were saying, we're not talking about looks, we're talking about health, right? Which is a totally different thing. But there was this movement, right, where they were pretty much trying to say, if you go to a doctor's office or you go to a clinic or whatever, you can decline them to weigh you because your weight doesn't signify any or indicate anything about health, right? And this was just a way of them. How I perceive it is he's just trying to ignore what is blatantly obvious, right? If you're overweight, obviously there could be other complications. There could be things that's not going good or whatever. So I think this was just a way for people to feel better about themselves by saying, hey, doctor, whatever, don't weigh me because my weight has nothing to do with my health. But I think we all understand that that's not necessarily true, right? And that's not necessarily a message that is good to pursue, right, or to promote. To have a bunch of people out there thinking, well, it doesn't matter if I'm overweight because it doesn't indicate health, and we know that's not true. So that's one of the things. Is like, come on, guys, we can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you don't care about your weight, that's different, right? That's your prerogative. Everybody, can live their life how they want, but you can't sit there and say I'm a healthy person if you're morbidly obese, right?
I think that's the hill they want to. That's the hill they want to stand on, though, bro. Like they just don't want to take onus in it, right?
Right.
Nobody wants to go walk. Nobody wants to drink the water.
Yeah,
Nobody wants to, cook the food, right?
Yeah, and I think that would something like that becoming mainstream more than it was, or more than they were trying to make it, I think would cause a greater health issue in this country than we already have. We already know this country is one of the most obese in the world, right? We know the portions. We see McDonald's, we see the super large, we see the drinks, the soda cans. We know all this about our country. And there's other countries. You can go to IKEA and you order the food there. They give you so little food. Yo, these portions are small. These are not American portions. And then when you eat it, I'm still hungry. But that's another, we're not talking about that. We're not talking about me. I'm just saying, I'm just rambling now. But we all know that there's an issue in this country in particular. But to push and promote that, I think that was a grave mistake. I don't see it so much now. So that's a good thing. But there might be people out there still doing it. But
they're pushing a whole lot of things they're gonna business doing, but that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother show.
That's facts. Yeah. No, for real.
So talk about for a second your Black Girl Magic, right? I seen that that you were doing that for a minute. You still into that?
Yes. I have a book coming out called Black Girl Stroke Magic. And so that is a compilation of other Black women stroke survivors to be telling our stories. When I was in the hospital, I can remember not wanting to believe the doctor's prognosis, right? I never believed the doctor's prognosis. Each time they would tell me something negative, I just refused to believe them. And it was a blatant refusal. It wasn't like, oh, I don't think that's true. It was like, yeah, the devil is a liar. That's a lie. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're not going to walk. That's a lie. Get out of here with that. It was a blatant refusal. And I remember one conversation I had with one of the neurosurgeons, and mind you, I'm paralyzed. My knowledge does not even stand a chance against these doctors, right? And so they're looking at me like, we are the experts. Who are you to tell us? We're telling you this is our experience. But my faith was way stronger than their knowledge. And
that's what you needed.
Yeah, and I just refused to accept that. And so I remember bringing up an athlete who was an Olympic runner, who had overcome his medical challenges and actually went back to the Olympics. And they were like, well, he was an athlete, he was a white man, and they were going and saying all these different things about him. And so at that time I remember thinking, I don't have a chance to convince them, so I'll just keep it to myself, my beliefs. And Black Girl Stroke Magic is going to be this book where Black women who look like me, who have strokes, can be able to point to and say, well, she made it and so can I. On page 57, she looks like me, her story I identify with, she did it and I'm going to get through this. And, whether it is fully walking and functioning in life like I am, or even just, in a wheelchair, or, back in life partially, however it is the recovery process looks for someone, they'll have somebody to identify with.
No, that's dope. I got a theory on doctors and the medical industry in general. I think because I'm a cancer survivor, right? And so I'm familiar with, I can't stand hospitals. I really don't. But I think when they come to you with a diagnosis, for whatever reason, I feel like American doctors give you the worst news possible. I think they're trained to do that, right? They come, okay, you got this diagnosis. Yes, they're the experts. They may have the schooling and they may know what's wrong with you. But I feel like a lot of times the way they come to you and tell you what's wrong with you, I feel like they do it in a way that can seem cold and can seem very pessimistic. So then, and I'm glad that you said you had the faith to be like, no, that's not me, because a lot of people in that situation would listen to a doctor tell them that and then take it and believe it. Right. Yeah. And then, like you said, fold and like let that happen to them. And it's because, well, this expert, this person of authority came and told me this. He must know better. He or she must know better than me. So it must be true. Right. And I feel like it takes a strong person to be like, I hear what you're saying. That's not my life. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, not even strong, Frank. Aware, right? An aware person. So let's say the doctor's coming to you with a box of answers, right? That's not all the answers, but in his box is some answers. We got A, B, C, and D.
Right.
Whoever answers it is, right? But they are trained to not deviate from the box.
Yeah.
Right.
What's outside the box don't work for us, or this is what we want to use in here. If you want to use it, and if you're aware to say, I know these answers in this box, this is what they got, but let me go home first and let me see if I can find some other alternatives that they may not have presented to me. Not necessarily, I ain't gonna say they deliberately not telling them other methods, right? But let's say, let me go take personal responsibility, like I've been saying, right? And go figure out if there are any alternatives. And I was gonna ask you that too. Like when they told you you won't walk again, what was you thinking? Like you just told us, but like your mindset had to be like, am I gonna just lay here or am I gonna try to get
Right.
from walk?
Who, me?
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I was the worst patient ever.
That's me. I'll be the
I
same way.
couldn't walk right. I was in, picture this, I was in ICU. They had to put an alarm on my bed because I kept trying to get out of my bed and I would fall on the floor. And so they would come run in the room, the alarm would go off. They put an alarm on my bed because I would keep hitting the floor. And they would run in, they'd be like, Miss Quinn, why do you keep doing this? I'm bruised my face up. And every time in my mind, I was like, forget y'all. I'm out of here. Like I'm going to walk.
Facts. That's beautiful. Yo. That's a beautiful thing. You gotta be that's I gotta commend you for that because it's sad though that there are people that will take the doctor's diagnosis as fact and truth and give up. And I think, and I don't know, I'm not a doctor. There might be some ethical things surrounding this. There could be issues with pharmaceuticals and big pharma where the doctor has to give them this horrible prognosis for a lifelong care, for money or whatever. I don't really know, but I feel like for the people out there that get those responses or get those diagnoses and give up, I feel sorry for them because like I don't know if it's something you just have to be aware of or it's probably happening out there more than it needs to be. You know what I'm saying? Like, what about the doctors that could come, give you a diagnosis and give you positive reinforcement or give you the ways you can do better or give you hope? You know what I'm saying? Because I can tell you when I was diagnosed with cancer, I didn't get that. I got, black pill, doomsday. Yeah, doom and gloom. And I was young.
Sure,
I was like 19, 20. You know what I'm saying? And they were just like, they told me what could happen and surgeries or things I had to do. And then they get into the long term, like, oh, well, then this can da. And it was just the worst. And I'm like, bro. And I had that same mentality. I was like, this ain't my life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna accept this. But it was a struggle because I was a little bit younger. And now what is it? This was 2006. I've been cancer free for 20 years or so. So, and I never look back, you know what I'm saying? And I'm good. So it's just one of those things. It's like, why can't these guys be more passionate? I don't know. And everybody has their own doctor. Some doctors are good, some doctors are bad, but I don't know. This is just me rambling on about the medical industry. But
you said you kind of younger, right? So I'll ask her about the older people, right? So it's either I'm young and I'm gonna eat what they're telling me, or I'm old and I'm stuck in my ways. I don't want to change, right? Like, what do you do for them?
So I had that with my parents, right? Because when we made the change in our household, my parents were not willing to make that change in their household for my kids. And so that was an issue.
Thanks.
I was controlling our food at home. I was controlling their lunches at school, or when they went to visit grandparents. My parents were like, "You're not gonna tell us what we're gonna cook in our
And
house.
tell me what to do."
Right? You can't tell us what to do." And so I was like, "Hey, you can't give my kids fried foods anymore. We're not eating fried foods, and you certainly can't give our kids macaroni and cheese and all that stuff y'all cook." And my parents were like, "We're grown. You're not gonna tell us." And so I had to make a decision. And I said, well, if you're not going to feed the kids like we're doing here, the kids aren't coming to your house. And my parents thought it was a joke. And so you're talking about for a good almost a year, we didn't let our kids go visit grandparents' houses. And so
grandma's stubborn.
yeah, what? And grandpa, pop too.
Right.
And so it was both grandmas. They all band together, like they not gonna tell us.
They want to,
You know what I mean?
like not even for health. Like you
Stay in
tell them, like, look,
solidarity.
my daughter
Nah.
is this is for her health. They just like, maybe they don't believe that the food was an issue. I would think.
I don't think initially they thought it was that serious. And then you also have to think too, it's a mindset. When you deviate from something that your parents are doing, they look at it as if, it's almost like an attack against them. So now they're looked at as they're the problem too.
Right.
When it's like, come on, we need you to get on board with this solution, but they're looking at it like it's an attack on them also. So it took a minute, and until they started really seeing how serious we were about our changes, that's when they started coming around. And until it was like, okay, my mom had to come visit our home and see that we were really serious about this change. And I remember my kids saying, Nana is cooking for us, but she didn't put any seasoning in the food because she said your mommy said y'all can't have salt. And she doesn't know what seasoning to use, and this food tastes horrible. And I was like, oh, she don't get it. She's not
Right.
using any seasoning.
That's super funny.
There's certain things you can do, right?
Yeah. So they came around, but I'll tell you that our family has totally changed. Now, over the years, I've started talking at our family reunions about changing our eating habits. We've had several family members who have also changed their eating habits. We have a cousin who has reversed his diabetes.
Yo, facts.
Yeah, of course, now grandparents know how to feed my kids.
Are they eating better for themselves, or they just do it for your kids?
They are eating better for themselves. My mother-in-law has lost so much weight. It's just, you see the whole family making a shift because of, one little drop in the bucket. And it's just the ripple effect that it has caused in our family. So, just think about one change, you being a change that can make a change in your entire family and
Hey, Frank.
Yeah.
Sorry, Frank. Personal responsibility. Is that not what she just explained to y'all?
Yeah.
So I tell him, he said, what's the solution? And I always back to personal responsibility. If I take personal responsibility for my actions and my stuff, my immediately family is gonna get the change, but the outside family is gonna see it too. Like, what y'all doing over there? Why y'all going like that over there? Why y'all growing like that over there? Why y'all vibrating like that over there? Right. And then what y'all do? I'm gonna come check it out. And then it's infectious, and they start taking personal responsibility. And it's like, and so Frank, she just said it. I've been saying that. I've been saying that for the past year plus, a little longer. Right. That's what it is right there.
Are you looking for a media agency that covers all the creative tasks that make a business successful? Lucid Perspective produces elegant, high-resolution graphics and logos, high-definition and 4K video, complete with treatment concepts and innovative editing. Lucid Perspective provides photography services such as fashion, advertisements, product or service, and aerial photography. We also help businesses build their brands from the ground up with complete campaigns that will make your business attractive to your target audience. We can bring your brand to the masses with our effective and strategic marketing campaigns to include sales funnels, eye-catching advertisements, breakthrough digital marketing through social media, and other digital avenues. Visit lucidperspective.com today.
But then also understanding, I tell my kids this, I got 3, 5, and a 1-year-old. I tell them verbally, bro, I've never had 3 kids before. I didn't get a handbook. I don't know what I'm doing. I've never been 36 before on July 18th, right? I'm telling them this is we're all right. We're all learning here. This is all, even my mom and them. They're older, but it's like, hey, you've never been 65 on this day before, right? Let's try something different. Let's try something different. Let's go figure some other stuff out. You keep beating your head on the same wall or the same problem or the same issue or reacting the same way or behaving the same way or eating the same way. You got to try something different. And so I just want to point that out too. Yeah. We're all learning here together, right? So
figuring shit out. That's what we're doing.
Yeah,
that's what it is. We out here figuring shit out. I know. So like I've been trying to get on my mom for a while. Not without getting into too many specifics. I know I won't put her out there. She can eat better, right? And every time I try to drill into her. Let's cut the bread out. Let's cut this out. Let's cut this out. And she'll try and she'll change for a little bit. It might be a week or something like that. And then I'm assuming she goes back because then it's just back to the same mode. So like outside of, do you have any advice for older people to change their diet for themselves? And I know this is, like you said, it's a personal responsibility thing, but it's like, what tips and tricks do you have? Do you have any spells? Do you have any magic? Do you have anything to like try to get certain people to wake up to their own health journey and that eating better and dieting, or not even dieting, lifestyle change is actually the number one priority and the number one answer for most of our physical ailments? What do you have? What you got?
So the best, of course, you said that the dieting, you got that it's not a way to live, it's a lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
The Mediterranean diet is the best
Blue
way to
zone.
eat because it's closest to what we're supposed to eat. You know, and so if you look up that Mediterranean diet plan, that is probably the best diet style that food wise for all of us to stick
Okay.
to. What I found with keeping people motivated that works well is when it's a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And so it doesn't matter the age. If you have some people that you want to do it with, it's going to keep you accountable and kind of keep you motivated. It could be for 14 days, it could be for 21 days, but some time frame that you know this is my start point and this is my end point generally works well for folks because it's not so long term that you can't accomplish it.
Mm.
And you might do that 21 day challenge, you know, every 3 months, but it's something that you know that you can get through it and it's not going to be forever. So if I know that I'm going to do this 21-day challenge with, you know, my girlfriends, you know, like I'm about to do this 10-day detox. It's just 10 days and I'm going to be fasting while I'm doing it. I'm looking forward to it because for me, when I fast, sure, I'm going to lose some weight, but I know that I'm going to be in a state where I'm going to have mental clarity. You know, I'm
Yes.
going to get rid of toxins and stuff out of my body that really should not be there, you know. And so when you're going through the challenges food wise, you know, you can think about all the things that you are doing it for, all the reasons that you need to eat healthy and focus on that.
Okay. That could work. What's this
Yeah.
fasting? What are you gonna do for this fast? Are you gonna, because I heard that there's different types of fast, right? There's somebody talking about a water fasting where they just drink water. I don't know how feasible that is. What type of
They just
fasting
fried
are
my
you?
man up. Oh, they just fried my man up on the internet. He was on a 55-day watermelon challenge. They fried him up in the comments, bro.
What?
I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Yeah.
And no comment.
He's still
This
here, I
is
guess.
this is a water and mineral fast that I'm going to be doing. I'm not sure if I'm going to do the fruit for the first 3 days or not, possibly, but it's a detox.
Oh, okay. So fruit, water, and minerals.
Yeah, it's like herbs and minerals.
Okay. I might want to try one of these.
No,
Okay, yeah, this is inspiring,
I'm too
man.
active.
Yeah, you bro, you in the
Yeah,
morning
too active.
every day you out
You
there.
got to. You got to steal the
Yeah,
time. I don't
I'm
care what you
trying.
say, Frank. Look, and
I ain't
guess
saying
what?
nothing bad
Guess
about
who
it.
else? And guess who? Only two people I see out there. Some old Asian couple. She got to be 75. He got to be 80. And I say I'm doing something right because they the only two I see out here walking with me.
That's what's up.
Yeah, I
Oh,
mean,
that's
Oh,
real.
that's awesome.
That's real. All right. So
all right.
where can people find you if they're looking for you? Where can they get the book? What are your socials? And let us know about what is it, Black Girl Stroke Magic?
Yes. My website is tamikaquinn.com and everything is there on my website. My Instagram is author Tamika Quinn. And speaking of author, I am out in these Instagram streets and website streets
Hey,
helping folks publish their own books as well. So
okay.
getpublished.shop is my website to do that.
So that's
Man,
dope,
I got a book I've been sitting on since 2013.
bro.
Oh
Done
wow.
in
Oh
PDF
wow.
form.
It's
And I don't
time.
know what I'm doing.
That was your sign, bro. That was your sign right there. Get it published.
Maybe. We'll see. I'm
No,
scared.
nah, you ain't scared. Don't be scared. Well, thank you so much. I'm definitely gonna take a look at your book. We're gonna
I want to ask one more question.
oh yeah.
I have
I
one
keep
question.
forgetting this. This is our new question. I keep forgetting. Go ahead, King. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. All right. What's the one thing you want to figure out now? What's one thing you want to figure out moving forward?
The one thing I want to figure out,
Yeah. What's the next thing you want to figure out? Yeah.
I guess at this point, how AI is going to impact what I do. And so how I can use AI to my advantage to engage more stroke survivors, to elevate my speaking platform, to definitely just connect with more stroke survivors and prevent stroke in the minority community, especially because it's so high impact in the minority community at an all-time rate. So yeah, definitely figuring out how AI can be useful in this area.
Hey
Oh,
Frank,
yeah, that's crucial.
both our eyes perked up like.
Yeah, no, I was expecting that. That's crucial though,
We some
because
nerds over here.
if you don't jump on that, it's replacing people, bro.
You see her? She said how I can use it to my advantage, and not how it's going to replace me. Not how I'm going to have to find something to do. No. How am I going to use this thing to my benefit? How am I going to make this thing my tool? You know what I'm talking about? Y'all about to get with it to get left for sure.
Facts. When you figure it out, let us know. Let us know.
Yeah.
That's one of those things.
We definitely with that one.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate
you.
You dropped some gems. We'll catch you on the other side, and hope we figure that shit out. I think I should say that. I think that's should that be how we close?
Yeah, like that.
I hope you figure that shit out. I don't know. Something we gotta figure something. We still learn. We still figuring this podcast out. So
every day,
what I'm saying?
bro.
It is. Yeah. It's only episode 55. So
all right.
we try. Thank you so much.
We did.
Thank you.
Yes. All right. Have a good night.
Bye.